Welcome to VYAPT Growth Series, Season-2, Episode 53. In our growth series today, we have with us Mr. Prakash Raman, MD of Silox India Private Limited, serving 65 countries across 5 continents. Prakash has over 3 decades of experience and has held various leadership roles in the past. A leader who is known for leading from the front and managing multicultural teams. Hi, Prakash.
Hi, good morning,
Namaste.
Pankaj. Namaskar.
Well, welcome to VYAPT Growth Series. We have some curiosities, and I'm sure a lot of feeding is going to happen on our curiosities. And we are delighted to have you on our platform.
It's my pleasure to talk to you and also to the audience. It's an honor for me. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
I start with my first curiosity, which is around the growth prospects of the inorganic chemical manufacturing industry. So, what are the growth prospects of the inorganic chemical manufacturing industry, and how the growth of this industry is shifting by mirroring the market dynamics?
Yeah. First, let me comment on the chemical industry, then come back to the inorganic, okay, because it's a closely related, okay. But let me just start with a few statistics, okay. If you see today, the Indian chemical industry is estimated to be approximately little less than 200 billion. Okay, so some people do not realize how big is this industry, and this just constitutes a little less than like maybe 3.5% of the global industry. So when compared to the global one, is still very small, but at the same time it offers a significant opportunity. But considering the dynamics with the recent studies, the industry is estimated to be close to almost 300 billion by 2027. And close to almost 850 to 1,000 billion by 2040, okay, which is estimated to grow on an average of around 8 to 9%. Like maybe there are very few sectors, like maybe because some of them get highlighted, like, but the chemical industry being like maybe very shy of it, okay, doesn't get propagated the opportunities what it's offering. It's significant about what there are from two aspects. One is just about the sheer size, like it means we are going to thinking of adding close to almost the 600 to 700 billion dollars of additional growth of business in the next something like 20 years, little less than 20 years. There are very few sectors which can offer, but most of them is going to come from the enhancement in the manufacturing sector. Okay, so which has a significant impact in terms of the employment opportunity, but also in terms of growth of the allied services. Here, what I'm talking about is the directly impacting the revenue of the chemical industry, but it's going to come out with its own ecosystem, which means that all the raw material, we need to ship this much goods. Okay, so there is going to be a multiple factor of like maybe on the economic impact it's going to have on it. So, and another significant aspect is about probably like the import substitution. Like today, for example, if we see India imports close to almost $33 billion, like out of that a little less than 200 billion dollars, but the exports only 24 billion. But with this growth, which is going to be estimated, again, it is going to offer more than 100 billion opportunities of export growth. So this is a multiple impact. But I think there are a few challenges to realize this growth numbers. Like maybe it is not going to happen by default. But what I would say is like last 2 to 3 years, the chemical industry has seen like we are living in a maybe golden era. Okay, because of multiple reasons, because of the realignment in the supply chain, because of the COVID situation, the China plus one strategy, like most of the global companies and also the domestic demand is what we are really seeing, like maybe what we believe is becoming more of a reality. Okay, so I'm very optimistic. If we do the things right, there are a few things which we need to do it right, like, but which is not going to happen otherwise. Okay, one thing, there are a lot of advantages in being India market, but first is one of the large consumer of the chemicals. As I mentioned, we are very minuscule, even in compared to even some of the developing countries. The consumption of chemicals per capita is still very low. So there is going to be huge growth opportunity in the domestic market. But also there are certain factors like maybe in terms of we are one of the still considered to be the cheap labor cost in terms of the capex investment, or still we are very competitive. Except that like maybe we do have some challenges like maybe the logistics, we are not that efficient, and also in terms of getting the approvals, starting a business, especially true for chemical industry which has a manufacturing footprint, is a bit of a lot of challenges. We need to put a lot of effort. So if we can address this some kind of issues with the government policies and also maybe a little bit more risk-taking opportunity from the entrepreneurs, this is going to become a reality, because this is going to expected to generate close to almost 4 to 8 million direct employment. Indirect employment can be 2 to 3 times bigger than this.
So a lot of growth coming in, and you have given some remarkable numbers, and the kind of growth prospects are really promising. If I talk of this particular chemical industry, but I'm sure growth is obviously added with a lot of innovation, and which fuels the growth of the sector. So my second curiosity is around the innovation only. So what are the upcoming innovations the industry is working on to mitigate challenges? As you talked about a lot of challenges along with the opportunity as well. And what are the game changing opportunities for the chemical manufacturing industry which can be created because of the innovation happening?
Yep. So I'll take just specific two examples, okay? Like maybe because most of the time, like maybe the innovation of the chemical industry is not really benefited by the chemical industry. I'll just take an example of take the
Yeah.
electrical mobility, okay?
Hmm.
The most of the innovation happen to make it reality is happening in the chemical industry. Take about a lithium-ion battery, okay? Is even though it's an electronic component, like maybe what constitutes inside of the like a lithium-ion battery is a chemical factory. Okay, so close to 99% of the material comes from the chemical industry to make the battery. Okay, so if you look into the battery, it's like a cathode, anode, separator, and electrolyte. All of them come from the chemical industry. Okay.
True.
Just to give it for back, like maybe 10, 11 years back, the cost per kilowatt hour of the electric battery, like it's close to be a little more than $1,000 per kilowatt hour. Okay. So you just see like maybe the challenge at the time was like it's way too expensive, both in terms of the capex and opex. Okay? Like for the electric mobility vehicle to compete with the internal combustion engine, it has to come down a little close to almost 70, 80. Okay, just see the 10 times reduction. Okay, most of this reduction is made possible by the chemical industry because of the innovation what it brings. Like for example, today the average battery cost hovers around, maybe the lowest possibly is around 80, but it hovers around 130 to 140. Just see like almost 8 to 9 times reduction. Okay, most of this reduction is not coming from like from the not reducing the raw material cost. It's about the innovation what the chemical industry are able to bring. Just take up the energy density. Okay, if you are able to store much more power into the same space with the same chemical, that reduces the cost per kilowatt hour of the battery. Okay, so much innovation happened in this chemical industry, both in the anode side, cathode side, electrolyte, and also the separator. This helped in reducing close almost 80 to 90% of the cost reduction happened because of the innovation happened in the chemical industry. Okay, so for example, so that's one example. Okay, so which means it's offer a huge opportunity for the chemical industry to be part of a game-changing happen. See, it just take for the next 1 or 2 decades. Like maybe the chemical industry is going to reap the benefit, which is the innovation is going to bring it. Okay. This is one new emerging industry where the innovation we see like it's accelerating. The second one, I'll go back to the traditional one. Like it just to think about maybe one of the biggest challenges what India is facing. We are going to be the diabetic capital of the world in next 15, 20 years.
True.
Okay, more and people are going to get diabetic, maybe for whatever the reason, or eating habits and other thing. And probably the cure is going to come again from the like chemical industry. For example, for you to do a hemodialysis, like maybe the membrane is made out of maybe the chemical or the polymer what we make. If you see, like maybe until few years back, India never had a local manufacturing of the membrane facility, because by virtue of it, most of the people cannot afford to do a dialysis, which means it's a more hygienic way. We have to reuse the dialyzer, but most of the developed country or in some of the developing countries, they use a one-time use, which is more hygienic. Okay, how it's made possible? Like maybe we need to start doing that here in India. Okay, with some the kind of innovation, it's possible to reduce the cost of the treatment by almost 1/10, which is already demonstrated. But again, like maybe that has to come from the chemical industry. So the innovation, when you talk about like innovation directly benefits maybe with a very diverse industry, the chemical industry innovation, but it's not in the forefront where the consumers don't realize where the innovation is coming from. This is just two examples. So it offers a number of opportunity. For example, there are other things happening in the, for example, the consumer space. They want much more like maybe the energy efficient molecules, and maybe whatever we consume, like maybe And if you go back to this, something there is fundamental research which need to happen, innovation has to happen in chemical industry. So from that sense, I would say we are going to be in the forefront, but not going to be in the consumer mind. That's a challenge of the chemical industry. The image of the chemical industry in terms of the consumer mind is not that positive compared to how much of innovation, the benefits it brings into the consumer and also in general market.
Okay, so you're talking about that there's a lot of awareness which is needed, and at the same time, a lot of innovations happening, which is going to drive the next phase of growth in the chemical industry business. Uh, Now, my after moving from innovation, I would like to probably go on the sustainability and the job creation part. Chemical industry is one of the major job creators. How is Silox India fulfilling its responsibility and commitment towards sustainability, and what are the employment opportunities the industry is creating for the masses?
Okay. See, first and foremost, like maybe the major challenge facing chemical industry is, okay, for example, most of the chemical manufacturing, both inorganic, organic, or the petrochemical, okay, is highly dependent on few resources like the electricity, the water, or the effluent it generates. Huh? This is one of the biggest challenges for the, so most of the sustainability initiative is going to just more focused on the manufacturing or the industrial impact because it has a large industrial footprint. Okay, the first and fundamental one is about the water. Okay, the use of water. Even in Silox, we use quite a bit of water. But like maybe last 4 years, considering the circularity and the development in the technology of the equipments, what we use and the process innovation, what's happening, specifically for Silox India, we are able to reduce almost 27% reduction in consumption of water. Okay, this is made possible. Now, there is no silver bullet. Huh? Like maybe we use a lot of cooling towers, etc. There is a small incremental innovation where we always use the concept reduce, recycle, reuse. Okay, so that has to be the question we need to keep on asking. And then I think we are able to reduce 29%, but we are not going to stop there. Like maybe that's we need to go to the next challenge. We need to minimize the use of water. No? Like maybe subsequently that will generate less of effluent. That's one. And the second, in terms of the energy, like as I said, like we consume a lot of energy. We take an initiative close to 45% of the electricity what we used has been turned into what you call the sustainable energy because it comes from wind and solar. Okay, it's a combination of wind and solar. We use external grid. So this will reduce close to almost 18,000 tons of CO2 per year. Like maybe when you take the average, like the production, what's the mix where India have it, especially in Gujarat, our manufacturing sites are in Gujarat. So we are going to do that. And the third one is about the steam. Like we use reduce a lot of things. Close to almost 70% of our steam, which previously take five years back, we used to use completely the furnace oil to produce the steam. Now almost close to 70% of our steam comes from biofuel, which means like maybe it's the groundnut, like the biofeedstock, which is completely switched over, like which will help the farmers also in terms of realizing, like because otherwise it was yes, it's a waste. It was being like burned like any fire, it create other issues. So we just moved that into biofuel. Like this will also reduce significantly the CO2 impact, but also like we develop the ecosystem with the farmers. Okay, so there are certain ways we can make business impact also, but at the end of the day we are not in a charity. Okay, because this all makes economic sense too. Like for example, the electricity which you are able to get from wind and solar is going to be at least 1 rupee per unit less when compared to what the grid power what we get. So and also the steam what we produce it from the biofuel, it's going to be almost equivalent to what we are using as a furnace oil, but the operation is going to be much more simpler. But we also tend to grow the employment opportunity with the farmers, the downstream processing industry, because we get into a long-term contract. We help them in providing enhancing the technology too. So that brings to your second part of the question: what's the employment opportunity which generates pay? Silox in India, like employs, we do have 3 manufacturing sites. We employ close to little less than 2,000 people, both direct and indirect, meaning the contract and also the permanent employees. But close to almost 3 to 4,000 people, we use the services because we use significant amount of raw materials and also the finished product, and we export it out. Okay, so that's what I say. The chemical industry here is a manufacturing heavy industry. Okay, if it generates like maybe if we invest to $1 or maybe 1,000 rupees, okay, there is a very strong element of employment opportunities, like it creates. But the biggest challenge what we are facing today is like the talent crunch. This is like available in plenty, but not it's a scarcity. Okay, because There's so much investment happening in the chemical industry. And the other one, like we are not able to get the desired like qualified resources. But also the image of the industry, chemical industry, is such much. That's what we need to, as an industry people, we need to rectify it, because we are not the preferred employer for the young minds in this country. Okay? They want to get into the software and other things. So that's the fight we need to do it, because there is a significant amount of innovation and then the growth opportunity happening here. But the challenge is you're not able to get the fresh young talents how much the industry requires. There is no easy solution, like, but the industry and the consumer has to work on it, like maybe to get maybe the significant amount of young innovative mind into the industry. It is not only in India, it's a problem worldwide for most of the chemical industry across the globe.
So a lot of challenges as well, which is there in the path of the opportunity which the industry has primarily to do with the job creation. And I'm sure with this interview, many of the youngsters would be delighted to join the chemical industry, as you have talked about some of the fantastic future which chemical industry can create for the youngsters. After this,
Before we enable, I just want to finish off with maybe which is not really talked about, is about the biodiversity. Okay, so for
please.
example, we do have 3 manufacturing sites. Like maybe
Mhm,
in 2 of them, we were developing like maybe VYAPT urban forest. Okay,
mhm,
the results it had, we are really being surprised. Okay, because we have one of our site are close to almost 150 different floral species and 130 bird species. Like maybe
mhm,
like which were able to attract. Okay, our plant is in the middle of the city, like I would call it as within the premises of the city. But
mhm.
this small, like maybe we have the concept of enhancing the Miyawaki urban forest, but how much impact we are able to make on the biodiversity, because you just see the like we have the raptors, maybe the series of birds and other thing. Like maybe so this is an eye opening for us. Okay, so now we are taking this. If we see that, or maybe our site from maybe from an aerial view, we just see the only the trees. Like maybe so the amount of impact it is able to make in a very short period is really amazing. And also it helps in enhancing, obviously, like with the CO2, the green cover and other thing. This is a new concept just we are trying to promote it also. Like maybe so when you talk about like maybe the sustainability, biodiversity is not really being considered to be most of the time focused on the energy, water, etc. But the
Mhm.
nature also brings a significant amount of changes. Like maybe probably whenever anybody wanted to visit the next time, we will be able to show different species of bird when you visit a chemical factory. Very few, like so.
I'm sure the people would be excited to visit the plant, because the kind of, apart from manufacturing, the kind of biodiversity which you just mentioned, greenery and then other birds and all, I think it would be a treat to our eyes seeing the facility. Um, I'm sure a lot of people must be listening to your talks, and how it is probably helping in terms of sustainability, primarily in the chemical manufacturing segment. After this, we'll move on to our rapid fire round. 10 questions coming to you, has to be answered in one word maximum, statement or a sentence. Are you ready?
Yes, please, sir.
So here we go. So one word or maximum a sentence. So the first one coming to you, what's your passion?
Running and badminton.
Okay. So what's one thing you think about when you hear the word success?
How many friends I have?
Okay. Fiction or non-fiction?
Fiction.
What trait do you value most in business?
Ethics and transparency.
What's the funniest thing that has ever happened to you?
Me talking in Gujarati to my employees. They have to shut me out.
Okay. So do you prefer a designated workspace, or do you work from different areas
I am a
of the
nomad.
company?
I am a nomad.
The next one coming to you. So we have asked 6 questions, 6 on 6 to you. So next one is, what's your all-time favorite movie?
Being a South Indian, I'm a Rajini fan. The recent one is The Jailer, the recent movie of Rajnikant.
Okay. The next one is, what is the most adventurous thing you have ever done?
Did my hiking with my wife in one of the mountains in Atlanta. Okay, so the mountain itself is not a challenge. The hiking with my wife was a challenge.
Okay, so the second last question coming to you. Are you a planner or do you prefer spontaneity?
So I need to split this question into two. For official one, I'm a planner. With my wife, I have to be spontaneous. I can't plan anything for her.
The last one. What's your favorite punchline?
Be humble, be available when people need you.
Wonderful. 10 on 10 to you in this rapid fire questions. You have been quite straight and quite spontaneous in answering all the 10 questions. And we would now like to move on to the fourth curiosity, which is about you as a leader. Uh, so I'm sure as around 11% of our people watching our videos are primarily youngsters or first time job seekers. Uh, and this is coming primarily from the students' point of view, is what lessons did you learn from mentors or colleagues, etc., and how it has impacted your leadership style. I would also request if you have anything to probably share to the younger generation, seeking an employment opportunity in the chemical industry, or want to make a career in the chemical industry. So anything which you can share and guide them, please.
See, the first and foremost, as a youngster, maybe true for one. Okay, uh, you need to be really like starting with maybe what you want to be in as something like 5 years, 10 years, and 15 years. Okay, I realized through all my 35 years of my working life, if you don't have a clarity of what you want to become, nobody will have it. Okay, so just be confident and then move towards your goal. Okay? But you need to have that clarity of thought. Nobody is more interested more than you about your personal growth. So just have the thought and clarity what you want to become. This is the one which I learned from my father. Like he was not highly educated, but he had just advised me on just a simple tip. Put it in a piece of paper what you want to become in 5 years, 10 years, and 15 years. Okay, so just move towards that. Okay. And the second one, like in terms of, I would really see like look it from a different perspective. When you talk about a lot of fundamental things happens in chemical industry. Okay, so if you wanted to really have a big impact on the people, on the planet, just try to look into the chemical industry as an opportunistic, maybe not only opportunistic, maybe as a long-term employer. Okay, you will be amazed to see like how many opportunities you can bring and how much growth opportunities you can come on your way. And second, in terms of the mentorship, I had a different mentors during different stages of my life. I've been fortunate to have maybe at least a few of them have a most meaningful impact. It may be not too much for the youngsters. It's more about this thing because we need to define like maybe because I had an opportunity to work in three different cultures in Asia, like in Europe and also in America. There is a one common thread. When you work for a company, it takes at least 3 to 4 years for you to make any meaningful impact. Okay, maybe have a long-term career for any opportunity you choose. And the second, once you do that, like you need to understand what's the culture of the company is. No? Like maybe whatever the background you can come from, maybe what is the culture of the company, which may be very different from like maybe the region you work. But once you understand the culture of the company, you know how to move the things and to get the things done. Then your success rate is much, much, much higher. So don't go with the prejudices. I'm not asking or maybe saying like you need to compromise on all your values. No, just understand the culture of the company, then you will find a way to convince people, get the things done. And people always see the result, they don't see the efforts. No? Just keep it in mind, at the end of the day you get measured by the results. It's unfortunate, but that's what it matters. No? So you need to make sure like you deliver the result in an incremental manner and other thing, because that builds the trust about you and about your individual branding. And maybe he's a go-to guy. Maybe if you go to this guy, you can get the things done. That's a kind of image it can create.
So you talked about delivering result and becoming a go-to person in terms of any challenges with the organization is facing, and do the things in the best possible manner, whatever the assignment is given to you. That's the way to have a successful career in the chemical industry, which you just talked about, and little nuggets which you shared with the students as well as with the people seeking first-time employment in the chemical industry. I think this is something which has been really fantastic, and it's been some phenomenal conversation, insightful as well as intriguing. Thank you so much for feeding our curiosity in VYAPT Growth Series. Thank you, Prakash, for being here on our platform.
Thank you very much, Pankaj. Really appreciate the opportunity to talk about, and then hopefully, like maybe we get more inspiring younger students and younger minds coming into the exciting world of the chemical. Thank you very much.
Definitely. Thank you so much.